Okay, so I'm joined here by Alan Keane, the head coach of the Under-18 GB men's team. Alan, how do tournaments like this help in the development of the sport here in Britain?
Well, it gives exposure, first of all. You know, you got national teams playing against national teams, which is very different to their club or academy environment. So, you know, when you bring a national team together, there's unfamiliarity. You know, and you've got to get used to that. So that brings a level of challenge in itself. And you've got different coaches as well. And now you're going up against opposition that you're not used to going up against, like you are in your domestic leagues. So that development factor alone is huge. And again, it's a stepping stone towards a bigger picture thing for these players with the GB teams in the summer.
So, as a stepping stone, that's interesting. How much of a stepping stone is it from, say, under-18s towards the senior levels?
Well, it's a big step, there's no doubt about it, because your role changes.
Right.
You know, you even look at this level, say you take under-18 club versus an under-18 England team versus an under-18 GB team. You know, you might have 3 different roles. Not necessarily 3 different roles, but 3, it'll look different. It will feel different because what you do at your club, like, you know, if there's 5 things you do really well, only 2 of them may carry over into a national team environment. And then you get to the GB level, only 1 of those things, but that one thing could be super important. And now you put 12 of those together collectively, that makes up your team. So the roles slightly change. And I think that's the biggest challenge for the players. Understanding what I do at my club doesn't necessarily transfer to what I'll do with the national team, and especially the GB team in the summer. But those 1 or 2 things you do really well, your major strengths, that's what we'll leverage the most.
So you've got the Euros coming up this summer, of course. Anything in particular you're looking from players here today?
You know, it's always tough to come down. I was just speaking to England coaches a while ago, talking about the challenges that players have to come in here. You know, they're playing for their country, number 1. You know, they know they're up for selection, number 2. They want to show their best selves, let's say. And what I'm looking for is players who are just playing with high energy, you know, good skill set, obviously. And also attitude. Like, you know, the players may know or, you know, take account of this, but actually when they get subbed off, you know, how do they come off? How do they greet their teammates? When the referee makes a call that doesn't go their way, how do they respond? When they turn the ball over, do they sprint back and recover? And, you know, are they fulfilling those important traits and characteristics? Obviously, we want players to put the ball in the hoop. Yeah, we want players to play with good spacing, understand defensive concepts. So it's there's a big package there. But, yeah, and I think the last thing I would say about that is I think it's really important that these players enjoy this occasion. You know, it's amazing to bring 4 nations together. It didn't happen for a long, long time. There was a huge gap. So actually enjoying this occasion, a wonderful fan base. And what you guys have put on here is absolutely outstanding. I've had the privilege to be here this year, whereas last year I watched the stream, which was amazing with the commentary as well. So, yeah, I just hope the players are enjoying the special occasion.
So that's interesting. So it's just as important, the mental aspects of a player in terms of being selected for something like Team GB. That's just as important as the physical attributes that they display on the court.
It is. However, you have to be able to put the ball in the basket. You have to be able to defend. But the mental aspects, the mental component is huge, because when you go to the European Championships and you play 8 games in like 10 days or 7 games in 10 days, and you're scouting, you're coming off a loss, and then you got to play again tomorrow, you got to review the last game, get ready for the next game. You've got all these different things going on. It's a lot of pressure, and being robust enough, mentally robust, to be able to deal with that. You know, for example, in 2019, we lost by 40 points to Turkey, and we had to come back the next day and play Serbia, which we beat them in overtime. So to be able to bounce back and have like a short kind of memory about how that felt, but learn from it, is very important. And, you know, we try to take the players through a process where they can do that. And that's not easy. So a lot of credit to these players, because they actually go through a lot. And I think people on the outside don't really, if you're not really in it, you don't really understand how difficult it is, but the players do an amazing job.
Well, thank you ever so much, Alan. You have a really nice day.
Pleasure.
Thank you. And make sure to stick around with the Basketball Wales YouTube channel for the rest of the coverage of the day.